Aaron Wood is the Deputy Commissioner for Operations for the South Carolina Commission of Agriculture. And it was fun. We talked with your big boss today, and agriculture has to connect with so many different agencies and parts of South Carolina society because it's so interwoven, isn't it?
That's correct, yes. And here at the Department of Agriculture, we serve as a voice for farmers, and we serve farmers in so many different ways. But a lot of folks don't realize that we actually serve all the citizens of South Carolina and a lot of things that we do, that our field inspectors do, and a lot of programs that our regulatory side handles.
Part of regulatory is seeing that things that are weighed weigh the appropriate amount. And I think y'all are getting ready to, even though that's already been a very viable and very correct system that you have in place, I think you're even going to make some adjustments and improvements there.
Yeah, I'd like to tell you that a little bit about our metrology department.
Which kind of means measurements.
That's
is that
right.
Yeah.
Metrology means measurements,
okay.
Not meteorology.
Yeah.
We don't predict the weather. We're good, but not that good. We leave that to the weathermen. But yes, we house the state standards for mass and volume, and so we will actually calibrate machines and measuring devices for government, whether it be public works outlets or even private business. Like the tire companies that have located in South Carolina, or BMW, or companies like that will send weights and measuring devices to us to calibrate. So we've been doing that for a long time and kind of developed a niche in that. We provide that service for even some neighboring states as well.
And it goes from things that are just minutely, incredibly infinitesimally small, I believe, which would be necessary in scientific applications of measurements that were involved with producing certain chemicals or things, but also it can be massive weights with heavy industry, I believe.
That's correct, and it's really fascinating. The laboratory where this happens, the environmental controls are so tight. I mean, the temperature has to stay within a certain range, the humidity, all of those things, the pressure. There can't be any vibration, and which is it's made this next thing I want to tell you about a little bit challenging. But we're actually going to open a new metrology laboratory at our State Farmers Market campus in June of this year.
So you'll have
permitting.
to be involved in things like making sure that the ground won't shake and that the humidity, and that in case of a natural disaster, that the place will continue to keep the environment exactly as it's supposed to be.
That's correct. We actually had to do a vibration study.
Wow.
When we were looking and evaluating the site,
the properties
that it's going to be on. We had to do a study on the soil that was there, and all those things that might not come into play if you're building a home or a warehouse or a traditional structure. We had to think about and evaluate, and are still evaluating as we build this new facility. And it'll sit close to our other main laboratory,
yes.
which I think y'all have been to and visited there at the Farmers Market campus.
It's fascinating to see the breadth of things where agriculture is involved in making sure that we're safe. That we've always known that our food supply is safe, but you just see to it that so many other things that happen in the state also are safe, and that even the gas pumps and things like that.
That's right, and a lot of people say, why does the Department of Agriculture involved in this? Well, it goes back to, and things are still sold by weight and volume, but commodities, agricultural commodities, and the Department of Agriculture was tasked with making sure that when producers or consumers engaged in the marketplace, that they were buying and selling by the appropriate weight or volume, and that still happens. I mean, we check scales at wood yards, the livestock scales at the markets around the state. We'll check those to make sure that farmers are being paid for appropriate weights. At grocery store scales, when the average consumer goes to a grocery store and buys some apples or bananas and puts them on the scale, our inspectors are in there at least once a year to check and make sure that those are accurate and within tolerance.
And all that is for our protection.
That's correct.
As somebody who's involved with master gardeners and just the general public concerned with agriculture, so often I get calls from people who are cleaning out their parents' house. And Aaron, they'll have pesticides in a garage storage area, and they don't know what they are, and they don't know what to do with them. And in the past, I didn't have anything to tell them. There were just no places where they could take them. You're not allowed to pour them out. You can't take them to the general landfill. And your agency is actually spending money to provide safe and controlled places to receive these. So let's talk a little about how important it is that we do that.
It is very important, and that is a challenge. I mean, you can't take pesticides to your local recycling center. You can't take them to the landfill, and there's really nothing to do with them.
And sometimes they don't even know what they are.
That's correct. And we get calls very similar to what you do. So we have a pesticide disposal program that we've been running since 2008. And we have opportunities around the state throughout the year for people to come dispose of unwanted pesticides. We've been making an effort. This program's been evolving, and we're trying to make those opportunities more accessible for homeowners and farmers, folks around the state to come and drop those chemicals off. We've been partnering with several county household hazardous waste disposal days.
Yes.
So when counties will host those, we come in and partner with them, and we'll actually handle and pay for the pesticide disposal.
And it's expensive because you have to send them to very specialized facilities.
To handle them and
Yes.
dispose of them. And we've also been trying to partner with events like the Agribiz Expo
Yes.
and some of the field days that the Clemson Research Centers have to have those opportunities at the same time as these other events, so that farmers, when they're coming to these events,
they're already going
to be there.
Of course.
They don't have to make a separate trip, and they can drop those off. So the pesticide disposal opportunity we have tomorrow is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. here at the Florence Civic Center. And folks can just come in. It's a no questions asked, completely anonymous program. You don't have to fill out any kind of paperwork. I tell people all the time, I don't know of any other government program that you can participate in that you don't have to fill out a piece of paperwork. So we're trying to make it very easy for folks.
But as the Agriculture Department and Clemson and all of us now have become aware, protecting our groundwater is so critical. And so y'all are really stepping up to the front of that critical task and seeing to it that people have a safe and convenient way to dispose of those potentially toxic materials.
Definitely. And this program is available for homeowners, for commercial operators, and for non-commercial operators.
You're very open in the people who you allow to take it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Y'all have some wonderful markets around the state, and y'all encourage people to come there by having some really fun events. What are some of the ways that y'all have gotten participation?
Well, I'm pleased to report, since we're here in Florence, that I'll start with our Florence Farmers Market. We had a record year there last year for attendance.
Record year?
We did. In the calendar year 2016, we had over 800,000 people attend events or come out to the market to shop, and that's great. We had our flower show last spring was a record event, and that's where I'll start for events this year at Florence. We have our flower show in April, spring plant and flower show, and that's always a big show. People, after a long, cold winter, people are ready to start planting, as you know. And we always have a very good demand and
vegetables as well as flowers.
Correct. Yeah,
yes.
Vegetables and ornamentals.
And it gives the growers such a wonderful opportunity to have a huge audience where they can actually get their product that they've worked so hard to grow in the hands of the public.
That's right. And people just, the Florence market is really what people think of when they think of a farmer's market, and how it's laid out, how it's oriented. We've made some investments at that market in 2016. We built a new shop for our staff at the PD market to be able to, even provide better service for folks and maintain the market for folks when they come to do business there. Moving on to Columbia State Farmers Market, got a couple of exciting events coming up. We've got the Commissioner's Cup Barbecue Championship in March. I believe that's March 24th and 25th, and that event is open to the public as well, and people can come out. We have barbecue cook teams from all over the Southeast, not just South Carolina, and folks can come out to the market and they can sample. Yeah, they can sample barbecue from all these cook teams. We usually have about 50 cook teams.
And so many of those people now have products that are part of your Specialty Foods Association, because people want to be able to use the same wonderful sauces. So everything that y'all do just feeds upon the great groundwork that you've laid.
They do, and those folks, get a chance to put their sauces out there and let folks sample them, and there are so many that participate in our specialty foods program there. And it gives folks, too, who may have not been out to the market before, a chance to come out and see the Columbia State Farmers Market and see the facilities.
Beautiful
and see,
facility.
Again, it's that time of year where, we're starting to get, some early product into the market, and people are excited about, planting vegetables and ornamentals, and we have lots of those vendors there that people can visit as well. And then I mentioned the flower show at PD. We have a spring plant and flower show at the Columbia State Farmers Market and Greenville.
And the upstate as well.
And those will be spring events as well.
And they're great fun to go to. And everybody, y'all have little wagons there. I mean, there are all sorts of things made to make it easy for people to fill up the car and go home and spend the whole weekend getting these beautiful plants and vegetables in the ground.
That's right.
And I was also going to say, that one of the things that y'all have done have been so supportive of people who want to become involved in farming, as well as finding ways to support our traditional farmers. Of course, the remarkable work that y'all did with the Farm Aid bill, which helps so many people stay in business. But I know you also want to make certain that there are markets for the people who successfully grow crops. So are there some things that may be important and economically important to some of those growers that may be coming in the future?
Definitely. We have an Office of Agribusiness Development, and Commissioner Weathers has a 50 by 20 initiative where he wants to grow agribusiness, the value to the state, to $50 billion by 2020. And part of that, a big emphasis of his is to have more and more markets for ag products. Mm-hmm. We're trying to recruit companies who will use farm products from South Carolina. So processors, trying to keep more value-added processing in state, so that we've got, the agribusiness itself provides jobs and economic activity, but and provides an output, but we want the input going into that processing facility, South Carolina ag products as well.
So there'll be fewer middlemen to dilute the profit, and also if there's an industrial processing facility, then that means jobs right here on the ground in South Carolina.
It certainly does, and I'm pleased to tell you that 2017 we're optimistic, and we think we're going to have some announcements in 2017 about some new value-added processing coming to South Carolina that'll be new markets for farmers to sell their products to. So stay tuned on that.
Well, I think that you have been very fortunate to be tutored under the wonderful leadership of our current commissioner.
Definitely.
And all of us have seen that the commitment and the ease with which and dedication with which he's worked throughout the entire state government agency protocol has been important, because I think agriculture is now receiving the recognition it needs. We want to thank y'all for everything and the very hard work. Y'all are a bunch of hard-working people. You've got a relatively small staff, but y'all get a lot done, Aaron, and I'm so glad that you could find the time to tell us about some of the things that you've been involved with today.
Thank you so much. We work very closely with other organizations, as you mentioned, like Clemson, and we complement one another, and that's how we are able to better serve the citizens of South Carolina.
It's a lot better when we're all pulling towards the same goal.
For sure. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.